welcome to the Momversation Club. I'm Claire Strong.
And I'm Christina Struckmeyer.
We're two moms just like you, navigating the nitty-grittiness of modern motherhood and taking you along with us as we talk about all the topics that nobody else talks about.
And today we're catching up, just two moms having coffee together and getting real about our current struggles, wins, and realities in an episode we like to call, How Are You Doing? Really?
And off the back of that, how are you doing really, Christina?
I was like, how are you doing? Really? I am drinking a cup of coffee. We were just having a conversation before we started, and I said, no, don't catch up yet because we have to do it on air.
Yes.
I have a bit of a back issue. For those who are in your mid-30s or upward, we start having situations where we slept wrong and maybe our backs are out for the week. I remember the days I used to fall asleep in bathtubs and be totally fine the next day, but gone are those days. But this is actually an injury from some extracurricular activities my husband and I were engaging in a couple days ago.
God. What the hell were you doing?
So it isn't all that exciting. It was just the normal extracurriculars you might envision happening. Sorry, Mom, if you're listening. But because it's been a while, I feel like that scene in Willy Wonka where the old man gets out of the bed and he just, I imagine after all dancing and all the things he's doing, he probably is my sciatica. That's how things have gone. So it's we just had, what I envision is a nice extracurricular. But
Yeah.
I bended myself in weird ways, and now my back is fucked up for the week.
Oh my God. That is so funny. I thought you were going to tell me you'd strained it picking up your toddler or something. And then I realized this. Wow. Okay. Well,
yeah.
You're going to get into it.
We're going to get into it. There we go. But you know what? It was so funny because the Willy Wonka situation, it had been a while. And I know people with young kids, you can feel me. Sometimes it turns into, oh, not tonight. We're going to watch the Netflix show. Or the next day, it's oh my God, I'm so tired. So-and-so pooped their pants today. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Every day kind of gets like that. And so you can look at the calendar and go, oh crap, let's go. We need to get things going.
Yeah.
And that's what things have been lately.
I hear you. Life just gets so busy. And my husband and I will have these conversations too. He's been away on business all week and we had a really busy week last week. So, now it's a couple of weeks and we're this is, for us, that's not okay. So yeah, it's, it really takes effort to carve out that time and do things with each other. It doesn't need to be sex. It can be other things too, but just having that one-on-one time. Yeah. But it's hard to fit in when you're a mom and you're juggling 1,000 different balls at once and your partner's busy and it's a lot. So I hear you.
Yeah, but I mean, proactively, I'm hoping we can, make time for ourselves because I will say that even that one day, I mean, I could write on that for 2 weeks because of the endorphins and the way that I feel right now. I feel when we go long periods, whether it's sex or intimacy or date nights or whatever, where we don't spend that time together as a couple, I start feeling less and less sexy and with it and start becoming more of a team player, softball coach type of feeling where we're just these two people muddling through each day, just trying to get to the end where everybody goes to sleep.
Yeah. That's a great point, Christina. And it's so easy to fall into that rut. Yeah. And it's not intentional a lot of the time, but you're right. I think it's so important just to carve out some couple time because otherwise it's easy for that spark to become, not as strong. So yes.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel that today's episode, the How You Doing Really, it kind of came about because Claire and I have had a couple weeks where we haven't been able to connect. Claire's been having a few trips and then I had a few trips and I was sick and there's just been a lot of life happening most friends who's, if you were listening, you probably have a friend you haven't caught up in a minute. Well, we were we haven't caught up in a minute. let's do it on air. Like, let's just get an episode going where we just catch up and we cut the bullshit of like, I'm doing great. How are you? Like, how many times do you see another mom in like the carpool lane or like, at an event? And you do the how you doing? I'm doing great. Maybe you have an antidote about like something that's not going so great, but it's positively spun. We're not
Mm,
doing that today. We are doing like a
yeah.
really like how you doing. So this is like an unfiltered episode.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is really great actually, because a lot of women, a lot of mums, when we are asked that question, we're often not truthful because I guess we don't want to burden the other person with our actual goings on. Or maybe we feel that we need to keep up some sort of image. But yeah, you're right. Today we're not going to do that. And so how are you doing really? What's going on with you?
Well, I would say today is like day 2 of pulling myself out of like a depressive hole, to be very
Oh,
honest.
wow.
This has
Okay.
been, and it's so funny because you mentioned like if you were to really say how you're doing when someone asks, like
Mhm.
that would frighten them, maybe scar them for life. People don't know what to do with that information. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm so sorry that's happening." But sometimes you just get into a rut where like things have just been pummeling you. Like life gets
Mhm.
you and you like start I feel like I'm like somebody's like I'm drowning in the waves and then someone like hands me something else that's heavy to hold on to and I'm like I'm just trying to float here. Like I'm
Yeah.
literally trying to survive. I can't
Yeah.
handle the thing that you're handling at me. Um and whenever I do kind of feel open to share with someone, they'll usually either one be horrified and they'll pray for you or like some sort of something like that, or like they have an open invitation to share what their hardship is, and I usually feel stupid for my hardship after that because their hardship's harder. But yeah, I feel like it's just been like one thing after the other. And we talked about at the beginning of the episode, like the extracurricular. I mean, thank God, because I fucking needed that. Because I've been feeling like this piece of furniture in my house. Like I feel kind of lost lately.
Mm, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean,
You see, you don't know what to say.
what's triggered that though? I mean, is it like a series of events? I mean, obviously, only feel comfortable to share
Yeah.
what you want to
No.
share. But is it one thing or is it just like a culmination?
Well, it doesn't help that you could probably hear it in my voice. I'm getting after a sinus infection type sickness, but
Yeah.
that took me out by the knees, which if you've ever been a mom that's sick, we've done an episode about it, but like, ha ha, like you're not, no,
Oh,
you're
Lord.
not. But I think it's a combination of the season of life I'm in because I'm
Mm.
talking to other mothers that I do trust to share real stuff with. And moms of under 3-year-olds, like we're just straight up not having a good time most days. Like it is
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, it's a hard
Um,
age. Yeah, it's very demanding. There's no break.
No. And I feel like I almost want to record like a day in the life because it's laughable, like what goes down during my day. I mean, just yesterday, I was trying to catch up with you
Mm.
and I'm, heading over. I'm dropping off one kid and I'm heading to the store to get some groceries. And then the other one's screaming for, a granola bar. And I'm getting her that. And I'm like, I'll call you right back. I'm going to get to the house and put away the groceries and I'll call you right back. And then I put the groceries away and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to feed her lunch. So then I make the lunch and then I go, oh crap, I need to make sure I clean up after that lunch. And then I have to go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom. I come right back. She has shat her pants. Now we're in a shat your pants situation. Like there's a shower, there's a whole thing. And then I'm like, oh crap, we have nap time. And then I have pickup. And then I start another part of my day, which is
Yeah.
the 5 to 8 p.m. like space. And
Yes.
I forgot to call you back. So it's like
Yeah.
that's my days most days where I feel like I'm just this season is so demanding. Like
Yes, that's the word. I was about to say that. It's demanding, isn't it? Very demanding.
yes.
Very demanding on you mentally, emotionally, and physically.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of mental exhaustion, I would say,
Mhm.
from the emotional like load I carry with trying to regulate my daughter's emotions, both of
Mm,
them.
mm,
My toddler is in the stage of like, you don't get to tell me what to do. And
yeah,
she's 2. Like, so I definitely get to tell her what to do. But she is me and I am her. Like, we are the same person. And so she's very
yeah.
headstrong. And navigating that, and trying to teach her how to be a good person and responding kindness and holding space for her when I really want to shout, like, get your effing shoes on. It's tiring. Like, it's exhausting on top of
It
the
is.
physical labor.
Yeah, I remember my youngest, she was like that. I mean, she's turned into just the most helpful, responsible girl, honestly. I don't know what I do. She's actually a better adult than I am, and she's 14. But when she was that age, my God, she's the same as me. We're very similar in characters, and we were just like this. Everything was a struggle. Everything was why, there was pushback. She was a lot when she was that age. I mean, she was funny and we had some great times too, but on that day-to-day basis, that you're talking about, my God, I was exhausted.
Oh yeah, no, they're so cute and so
Yeah.
fun, and like this age has a lot of perks, which is what
Mm-hmm.
I say when people are asking me how I'm doing. I'm like, oh, she's just so great. She's the sweetest little girl. Like, but also there's this
Yeah.
other side
Yeah.
where, especially when we're home alone, because as moms, we are their safe place, and so they
Mm-hmm.
may act one way in front of the grandparents, in front of the other peers, and then they get home and they're free to like let go of all of that and just be kind of their full selves.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that does transfer into the teenage years as well, because even they'll do that. They're like so polite and well behaved in public, and then as soon as you get to the house, it's like, oh my God, is this a different child? Like, what the heck? I thought everything was great, and then they're like, yeah, I don't want to talk anymore. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. And then it's literally you're dealing with a with another person.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I think this season of motherhood is something that a lot of moms can relate to if they have younger kids, and also it sounds like older kids where you're facing. It sounds like it just transfers into new stages, the same feeling,
Yeah.
but it feels like alongside the physical, like changing of pants and the diapers and the potty training and all the stuff, there's this emotional load as well, and then there's you as a person and you're trying to like be a person as well. You're not just the mom. And so you're trying to have sex with your husband. You're trying to get dressed for the day, maybe make some friends, like get out there, feel less like, somebody's snack bitch and more like a person that stands on their own 2 feet. And that's been difficult lately. I feel like all my energy is going to these other people and there's not a lot left for me at the end of the day.
Yeah, I do feel like that still. And obviously, my girls are older, but some of the same things are going on with me. Obviously, I don't have to change, nappies or diapers anymore. So
Thank God.
God. But I feel very similar. I give so much to everyone. I'm working hard on my business. We have the podcast. And so by the time, I try and cram my work into the school day for the most part. So by the time I collect the girls from school, the girls come in from school, I've got to find energy to be engaged and to listen and to participate in their lives. And just last night, my youngest wanted to go to the gym with me. Oh my God, I was so tired. There was this class at 6:30, I want to say, and I was exhausted. And honestly, I would not have gone, but I'd promised her that I would go with her because she wanted to do this with me. And so that's an example of how, I think as a mom, you still, or certainly I do this. It's my, this is not a great character trait, but I am a people pleaser and, didn't want to let her down. So I went and did this exercise class with her. And, I think with exercise, you tend to feel better afterwards, even if you're tired. But the point is, I'm exhausted a lot of the time. And I do feel that I am not giving anyone my best version because there are so many, pulled in so many different ways. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to be a great mom who's always in listening mode and who's doing stuff with their kids. But then, I'm also having to be an entrepreneur and a businesswoman, and that's taking my energy. And then I'm a wife, and then we have 3 dogs, and my husband works away a lot, and who's going to sort all that out? So there's just a lot of competing priorities all the time. That's how I would put it, Christina. So that's how I'm doing, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. And I feel like as a mom, you're saying these things to me and I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like I get that. I don't have that exact life, but I can feel that feeling. And I feel like as mothers, we all have this like sense of we're all in this together. I get you, but I don't have that for my partner. And that's been really hard to navigate these days too, where it's like even if like we were to have you take the children and do what I do, it's not the same as if you were in my shoes. Sometimes I wish I could just for a day, like Freaky Friday the situation and have him go in my shoes and me go in his. And I would love to like feel what it feels like to have just like one focus and then, be able to leave the other piece at home and then go do the things you want to do and come back. Because my husband's a caring husband. He's very helpful. He's a partner. But like, he knows I'm holding it down when he goes. He doesn't have to worry about it. Versus like being in my shoes, even when I'm actively doing something that I know is good for me and my children, I am thinking about 3 or 4 things I could be doing. That is
Yes, always.
what I should be doing alongside this, right? Like you feel that too.
Oh, definitely. And I've said this so many times, either to myself or to my friends. And, my husband works really hard. So I cannot fault him. He's a good provider from that point of view. But he has one focus, and that's his work day. And so he never ever would consider, oh, what are we having for dinner? What have the girls got on today? Those things would never enter his head. And when he goes away on business trips, or he's a big snowboarder and that's his kind of passion, so he goes snowboarding with his friends, and he would never think, okay, before I plan this trip, I need to run everything past Claire to make sure that she's good and she's got this, and what do I need to do in order to make it really easy for her while I'm away. If the roles reverse, that's exactly what I would be doing. It would almost be, it's almost to the point where, is it worth going anywhere? Because I've got so much to organize. Just for example, we actually did get to go away for a couple of days together a few weeks back, but the organizing on my part to make that happen was just off the scale.
Mm.
I did talk to him about what needed to be done, but it was very much like, well, if you can get all of that sorted, then you can join me on this snowboarding trip that I've already got planned. But that was the deal. It wasn't like, I'll help you sort everything out, and we'll make sure that we can go together. It was like, the invitation's open as long as you can sort out the kids and the dogs, and it's like, okay. And I only had about 3 or 4 days notice, and so, but it wasn't just a case of finding somewhere for the girls to stay that weekend, and they had to look after the dogs, so I had to coordinate all of that. They'd also got ballet rehearsal, so who's going to take them there? None of those things would have entered his head because he doesn't know that they're going on, frankly. And so I think that is the difference between, well, certainly my experience between mums and dads, husbands and wives, in my experience, even though, like you, he is helpful around the house. I'll give him his dues. He's a lot tidier than I am. He can clean that kitchen. Oh yeah, God, I'm not a tidy person. He can, in fact, when he's away, the one thing I do miss is him tidying the kitchen at night because it doesn't look as tidy as when he's here. But so he is good in those ways, but then he very much has one job. The one job is him focusing on work all day, and then him maybe going to the gym. Those are his priorities in the day. And then anything that's going
Yeah.
on with the girls and I, that's just something that I take care of. And maybe I tell him about it at the end of the day. But it's very rare for him to say, okay, so do you need my help today? It's not, that kind of doesn't enter his head very often.
Yeah, yeah. And then when I've tried to share, like, because again, we have partners that listen. So it's like when I try to share what's going on, I do get a lot of like, well, you don't realize that I'm thinking about these things. And he is providing for our family financially. And there is a lot at stake and things that he has to do proactively for work. And, there, I understand it, but I feel like there's still like this disconnect between my understanding of his stuff and then him really not realizing all of the intricacies that come into taking care of the kids, because it's not just taking care of the kids. I mean, that's why people who are nannies are still happy and free. Like, it's not just taking care of the kids, it's taking care of the
Yeah,
kids and taking on the load of all of this stuff. And it's little stuff too. Like the
it
other day,
is.
I left him alone to go do some things, and I left him alone, and I purposely left some dishes in the sink just to kind of leave it there and see if he would do them on his own accord. And I came
Oh, it
back,
was
and
a trap. You
yeah,
trapped him.
I didn't mean to. I was kind of a trap, but like really, I was like, curious. I was like, if he's left alone at the house by himself, what will he do? Because he doesn't have any work to do today. I'm taking both girls. Like, what will he do? I came back to find this man playing solitaire on his computer. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because what I would do with
Oh,
a
wow.
hour gap of time and no job to do, I'd be like scrubbing baseboards and like getting shit done. I might take a nap. Like I would do something that added value to either me or the house or something. I certainly wouldn't just be chilling on my computer playing solitaire. So it's just, I can talk to any mom and present that scenario. Hey, what would you do with an hour where there's no expectations of you? That would not be what you chose to spend your hour doing, I guarantee you.
No, no, definitely not. But did you ask him about that, or did you just kind of let it go?
Well, I'm sarcastic because that's who I am in nature. And so I was like, oh, wow, these dishes are still here. That's crazy. He was like, did you want me to do the dishes? You could have just told me. And it's so funny. There's a gal on TikTok. I don't know if you've ever heard
Mm.
it. It's a song called Make a List. And she's like, if you want your
Uh,
husband to help out with the house, make a list. And then she goes, I don't want to
oh,
make a list.
yeah, yes, yes, I have
I'm
heard that
like,
one. Yeah. Oh, okay.
that's the thing. It's like, oh, I didn't know that you wanted me to put my dirty clothes into the hamper. You should have just said something. And you're like, don't you have eyes? Don't you also live here?
Yes. So it's still like putting the blame on you, isn't it? The onus is
Yeah,
still on you. So it's like, well, if you'd have told me, I would have done it. But because you didn't, hey ho, it hasn't got done. So really, it's still on you.
exactly. It's at
Yeah.
all points. This turned into a husband bitch fest, but like that is like how things have been going, where it's like,
Hmm.
I feel like I'm treading water. And a
Yeah.
lot of it also is my own stuff with like, who am I right now? Because
Mm.
I feel like we've discussed it on previous episodes, but when you become a mom, you change so much.
Yeah,
And then
you
you
do.
have another kid, or maybe a couple years go by and something traumatic's happened, or maybe just nothing traumatic happened, and you have just changed because whatever. We're
Yeah.
constantly going into new seasons of ourselves.
Yes.
And I feel like there's a lot of, I don't know who I am in this season. And I'm like trying to try things on and see,
Yeah.
like, is this me? Is this the new me? What about this hat? Like, I'm just, like I'm trying to figure out what I want and
Yes.
what I don't want, and like what does this next season mean for me professionally,
Mhm.
as a mom. What do I want? Like, there's just so much up in the air. And alongside that identity crisis, I'm also looking around at the world and everything is on fire. And I'm
I
like,
know.
what? I feel so stupid having these issues where there's like literal issues going around. Like,
So I'm having to reduce the amount of news I'm consuming these days, which is difficult for me. And it's something that I've never done because I've been a journalist all my professional life. So I consume news, all day, every day as my job. But over the last few months, it's just, I mean, I'm still informed
yeah,
and still, catch up on, the BBC website, CNN, whatever. But I can't watch the 24-hour news channels like I used to do. I just can't because I need to preserve my own mental health. So that's stressful too.
yeah, it is. It is. And it's like, I don't know. Sometimes when I'm trying to focus in and be like, okay, what do I want? What do I do? I look around and I'm like, does it even matter? Like, should I just keep doing what I'm doing and just exist for a little while? But then I go, I'm wasting time. Like, you have the same 24 hours of the day as Beyonce. Like, isn't that the saying? So, like, I'm like, I like, where did this day go? And how many days have I just let go, not doing things that make a difference? And so I don't know, girl. I've been a lot of like somebody who has ADHD. Like I'm ping ponging all around, but like
Yeah, I do that.
it's motherhood. I'm just like, who am I? What is this season? What am I doing? I can't think too hard on anything really, because then the next person who needs their butt wiped is ready to go, and I'm like, there goes that. Like I was gonna change the world and cure cancer, but I got pulled in this direction, and now here we are.
My God. So, well, that just sums up like our lives right now. I was laughing and I was just laughing at your curing cancer quip there, but then you had to wipe someone else's bum. So yeah, I hear you. You know what's kind of, and this might sound silly, and for someone who is more organized, this wouldn't be an issue, but this is a big deal for me. I am overwhelmed. I always am by the amount of emails I get, particularly like relating to the girls. So I'm trying to, I go through which is the most important one, but stuff from dancing, like I can't even. Their schedule's so crazy right now at dance. Even that's overwhelming me. It's like I don't know when you're supposed to be there, who is doing what, because they're practicing for a recital and the rehearsals change every week, which is just great. So they're not even on a set day at a set time. One could be doing something at 7:30 at night one Tuesday, then it's Saturday at 11, and then I don't even know. And so, just even little things like the school yearbooks. I need to order those, and I keep getting these reminders through, but I feel like I need a personal assistant because
Oh
it's
my
just,
God. What would that be like, right?
oh my God, I'm telling you, I'm manifesting this right now. I need to be at a place where I can afford a personal assistant, because those are the sorts of things that, again, Kyle doesn't get those emails. My husband doesn't get those emails. So he would never think, oh God, the yearbook deadline's are due. I've got to order this yearbook. Or what about the school portraits that I haven't ordered yet? I mean, none of these, they just appear. They appear because I sort them out. But I find those really little things that are very small on their own, but they add up. And I tell you what they do as well. And this is something that I need to, maybe translate into something that's a more positive message. But it does then create this impression that you are just failing at everything, whether it's true or not. That's how you start feeling about yourself. You're like, my God,
Yeah.
I can't even keep up with dancing. Like, what type of mother am I? All the other moms are on this like WhatsApp group chat and they know everything about everything. Me, meanwhile, I'm struggling to even get them to the right class on the right day. And so, and it can over time, if you let it, add up to this narrative that you're telling yourself that you're just not very good at anything and you're failing across the board. And so that's something that I'm aware of, and I'm actually giving myself some grace, and I'm saying to myself, okay, so maybe you're not like 100% on the ball all the time, but you are doing hard things. You are accomplishing hard things in a day, whether it's with the girls, whether it's personally, whether it's work wise. Nothing's like being handed to me. I'm working for every aspect of my life right now. Nothing kind of, I'm sure you can, empathize with this, but nothing in my life certainly has come easy. It's come at like extreme, cost or hard work or sacrifice. And that still is the case. It's just that I need to phrase a narrative to myself that, look at all that you are accomplishing. Don't always look on what you haven't accomplished yet or what maybe isn't your strength. Look at the stuff that you do great. And that kind of creates then a more positive self-talk.
I love that. Yeah. Doing a little check in with yourself. Like, hey,
Yeah.
actually, I have accomplished quite a bit today. Like in your
Yeah.
head, like what are some things I did correct today? What are some things I
Yeah.
got off my list or, discovered or learned or, finding a way to phrase the day, not being just this bland, I took everybody every place. I mean, that is accomplishment in itself.
Yes.
Everybody got to where they needed to go
Oh, yeah.
today.
No, and depending on the day, that can be like a massive, accomplishment in itself. Like you say,
Really.
that's no mean feat. So I think that's what's going on with me right now. I think I need to give myself grace for the stuff I am doing well, and being the predominant caregiver is a lot. And I also appreciate that when I moved to the States, I left a very steady and secure career with the BBC. And so I'm having to, relaunch my career. And so there's lots of challenges and firsts from my business, in my business world as well. I mean, obviously you and I have this, and I also have some other things going on right now that are it takes a lot to get these things up and running. So in all aspects of my life, I feel that I'm having to hustle every day. It's I don't have a regular, stable job where I don't need to think about when I'm next getting paid, because it happens automatically. I just need to show up and do my job. Both you and I, we stepped out of that world, and so we have our entrepreneur hats on, and that in itself, it's hard, and a lot of people, for good reason, couldn't do that, and I understand why, because it's very thankless.
Difficult.
There's so much hard work that goes into even getting your first wins, and all along you're having to try and keep a real positive frame of mind, because otherwise all the knocks are just going to floor you. And so it's we as mums deal with a lot. All of our situations are different, but we have a lot more in common than we do apart.
So true. So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I read, so I was just speaking of juggling all this stuff, right?
Mm.
Sometimes as moms, I feel like we have to keep all these balls in the air, and we're like,
Yeah.
all of the balls are equally important, right? And I recently saw, I think it might have been a video or a reel or something, but this gal was saying that when you're juggling the balls, you have to determine like what's made of rubber and what's made of glass. And you can't do it
Wow.
all. And so when you're juggling, if you realize that, oh shit, I'm going to drop a ball, make sure it's just a rubber ball and not a glass one. And the glass one
Wow.
is like getting your kids to school on time and like, picking them up from school so that you don't abandon them and CPS gets called. That's a glass ball,
Yeah. Yeah.
making sure everybody's fed. That's a glass ball. Like
it is. Or even something, for example, I had a doctor's appointment yesterday and I needed to go and get an x-ray. And the doctor said to me, because she kind of knows me, and she said, you know what, go and do it right now, Claire, because I know what you're going to do. You're going to forget it because, oh no, you've got other things you need to turn your attention to. You're not the priority. This x-ray isn't urgent. So, it's not like it's a life-threatening situation. But she said, go and do it, because you will put it off because it's just something in your eyes that isn't a priority. And so making you a priority is a glass ball, by the way, because it can lead to really significant consequences.
Especially with your health. I mean, how many times have you talked to a mom and she's like, I haven't gone to the doctor in 2 years, or I haven't gone to the dentist in 3. Like, people put things off.
Yeah, but even same, you just mentioned the dentist. My girls are having braces on right now. My eldest has had one on for a couple of years. My youngest is just getting her first brace. So they're all good with dental appointments. And I'm thinking, when did I last go to the dentist? I actually love going to the dentist. So I need to, book that appointment.
But no, it's true. Like, some stuff is glass, some stuff is rubber.
Yeah.
Like, you were talking about how much do I want to share at the top of the episode. And it's like, there's some stuff that you and I have talked about off camera where it comes to like external family stuff.
Yeah.
I've decided all that shit's rubber right now. Like, I am in survival mode. I am in keep my shit together mode. And that means that some stuff that might have been glass before turns to rubber, because it's not going to shatter if I don't attend to it right now. And so as a mom, like, I think I encourage all of us to kind of look at all the shit we're juggling and go, is that something I need to juggle right this instant? Could I let it drop and like maybe later I pick it up at another time? Or is this something where if I drop it, shit's going to go down? And make sure that you're prioritizing the right stuff, because what you prioritize grows, and the things that you're putting off is going to be, permanently put off. So look at what's important. Like, for me, the other day I was feeling really run down, and there was a PTA meeting, and I'm on the PTA, and I was like, oh no, if I don't show up, the teachers are going to think I don't care about the children. Like, what about the children? And, I was supposed to volunteer in class and all this stuff, and I was feeling kind of run down. I was not like contagious, but I just didn't want to fucking do it, right? Like, I'm tired. And I was like, I could take a nap, or I could go volunteer at the school and go to the PTA meeting. And it was like, goodbye. You're a rubber ball now. Goodbye. I'll see you later.
Well, that's great that you chose that. But we have mom guilt. There's a thing called mom guilt. We experience it all the time. And that's the type of situation that as a mom, your default setting can be just to push through. So I'm glad that you actually took a step back and realized what was more important for you at that moment.
I think we all need to. And also, I have friends who kill themselves to make sure their kids get every little thing, never have to struggle, never have to worry, can sign up for all the activities. And I'm like, maybe that's a rubber ball right now. Maybe you don't sign up for every single thing there ever was. And instead, maybe pick 2. And the other things, I mean, your child's not going to die if they don't do a third activity. They can pick. And a lot of people do. Like, I feel like my mom, I'm like, there's starving kids in China. But like, just like, well, I feel like there is this thing where it's like keeping up with the Joneses, or maybe it's mom guilt, or maybe it's never wanting to see your kids struggle. But like, it builds character to not get everything you want.
I think that's what it is. I mean, certainly with me, it's not keeping up with the Joneses as much as it's not disappointing my kids. So, you feel this, pull that it's not that you want to give them everything because you don't want them to be spoiled brats, clearly, but you want them to be able to have enough so that they don't feel that they're missing out on life because you're not able to do this thing that maybe their friends do. But yeah, again, I think it goes back to mom guilt, and it's something that I think we have to manage. Every day we have to manage. It doesn't mean that we're being bad parents. It doesn't mean that we're ruining our kids' lives because we can't commit to everything, whether it's because of financial restraints or time restraints. It's okay. And so that's something I struggle with every day. I do. It's a constant battle for me to tell myself it's okay to not do that.
You guys, this has been so nice. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my chest. I'm like, like I said it out loud. It's real. Like, these are the things that are going on. I think so many of us like silently struggle with all of this stuff. Like, if not more so, like there might be other things that are even harder for some of these people that might be listening. And it's okay to like share those things. And maybe if you have, I would love to hear from you guys. If you're feeling brave and up for it, tell us how you're really doing in our DMs. And maybe we'll share those on Instagram without your name. That way we can all see that we're all kind of in it. And I think that adds to our collective like understanding of each other, to just know, even like you mentioned earlier, like the other moms are doing this, they're on the WhatsApp chat. Well, maybe the other moms have a silent struggle they're not sharing. And how good would it feel to know that you're not the only one?
And that brings us to the end of another episode of the Momversation Club.
And if you've enjoyed today's show, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a review.
We hope today's episode has made you feel more seen and less alone in motherhood. Until next time, bye for now.